Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I'm here tonight to follow up on a question I asked the Justice Minister back in June on when we could expect the much-needed bail changes to reverse the Liberal bail system that we've had in place. As I noted when I followed this up last month during adjournment proceedings and could not get an answer from the Parliamentary Secretary at that time on the specifics of it, this isn't actually a new question. This is a question that I have actually been bringing up in this chamber since 2022, the urgent need for massive reversal around the Liberals' bail system. I'd point out as well, this is actually something that this Liberal government voted against in early 2023 when we called upon those changes here in this chamber. As I noted, I did not get a specific answer, but I am happy to report that today we're finally debating the recently tabled Bill C-14 that does address many of those reversals needed around the previous Liberal bills, Bill C-75 and C-5. So what I want to focus the remainder of my time tonight, Mr. Speaker, and I'm assuming it's going to be the Parliamentary Secretary of Justice that's going to reply to me, I think, out of all the Liberals present. So I want to give her the opportunity to just focus in on some of the private members' bills that we've already tabled in this House and ask her opinion. Can she reassure me that Bill C-14 is going to address these, and if not, will she actually support these private members' bills? So why is this so important, Mr. Speaker? Well, look, as I asked in my question back in June, in my riding alone in just the city of Owen Sound, the Owen Sound annual police report reported violent crimes up another 14.6%, and I've addressed concerns around the fact that this delay in the justice for these victims, specifically tied to decisions being stayed around the Jordan's limit, is again taking away justice for the victim. But let's get to the three private members' bills that I want to talk to the Parliamentary Secretary. First is Bill C-242, the Jail Not Bail Act by the great Member of Parliament from Oxford. And so it's focused on a few things that hopefully the Parliamentary Secretary can address. One, it's going to repeal and replace the Liberal principle of restraint that came out in Bill C-75, and instead focus that public safety and public protection has to be the primary consideration. As well, that bill proposes a new major offenses category with the reverse onus bail conditions on firearm, sexual acts, kidnapping, human trafficking, home invasion, robbery, extortion, and arson and assault charges. So I'm believing C-14 will address a lot of the reverse onus aspects. But as well, it'll strengthen bail laws by mandating judges consider an accused full criminal history, when they're making a decision, and as well, it'll prohibit anyone with an indictable conviction from acting as a guarantor. So that's something I want to focus on as well. As well, we have C-246 from the member from Lethbridge that focuses on consecutive sentences and being able to do that, and whether or not C-14 will address that. And finally, a couple aspects from C-225 from the MP from Kamloops, Thompson Nicola, which is would force a convicted offender of intimate partner violence within the preceding 5 years to be only released by a judge. So can the Parliamentary Secretary assure me that C-14 will address all those concerns in those three private members' bills?
The Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to rise this evening to speak about Canada's bail system and to respond to the member opposite. He asked whether the Minister of Justice had specific timelines for introducing bail and sentencing reform, a commitment we were elected on and promised Canadians the mandate they gave us. Well, Mr. Speaker, as the member pointed out, last week the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada introduced Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act. And even greater news, Bill C-14 was already at second reading today in the chambers. So earlier this afternoon, the Minister of Justice spoke about how the bill will crack down on repeat violent offenders, making it harder to get bail and toughen sentences. Bill C-14 strengthens Canada's bail and sentencing system to better protect public safety and prevent repeat offenders. It requires courts to consider random or unprovoked violence in bail decisions and clarifies that restraint does not mandate automatic release. For serious and repeat violent crimes, new reverse onus rules make the accused's responsibility to justify release, rather than the Crown having to prove the grounds for detention. In regard to sentencing reform, C-14 adds new aggravating factors, requires consecutive sentences for certain serious offenses, and ends the use of house arrest for serious sexual crimes, including those against children. Now, regarding the member opposite's question on the timeline for this bill, it's important to note that the reforms of this magnitude, over 80 amendments to the criminal code, Mr. Speaker, it requires careful and thorough consultation. Let's recall what the Leader of the Opposition was doing all summer. He was targeting his own MPs' seats to protect his job. At the same time, what was the Minister of Justice doing? Well, he was targeting repeat violent offenders and building consensus among provinces, territories, police associations, and victim groups to develop real practical solutions. That consensus is what led to Bill C-14. For the first time, we have national consensus, Conservative, New Democrat, and Liberal premiers alike, all of them calling for the swift passage of this bill, Mr. Speaker. When every province and territory welcomes a federal justice reform system, and I mean everyone, that's not politics, that's partnership, that's leadership. Finally, Mr. Speaker, while Parliament sets the laws on bail, provinces and territories run the system, conducting most hearings and enforcing release conditions. All levels of government share responsibility for making bail work. We are doing our job with these sweeping reforms. Now provinces need to do theirs. This government remains committed in working closely with them to strengthen the system and keep Canadians safe. Mr. Speaker, Bill C-14 is balanced, principled, and firm. It targets repeat violent offenders, strengthens community safety, and upholds the rule of law. This is real reform, Mr. Speaker, not rhetoric. This is leadership that unites and does not divide. And that is exactly what Canadians expect and what they deserve. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Bruce Grey, Owen Sound.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was actually a little surprised by a few of those comments by the member or the parliamentary secretary. It wasn't where I expected to go, but I didn't get an answer to my question. My question in this debate, as I highlighted, I didn't need the synopsis of Bill C-14. We're tracking that. The minister actually indicated in debate today that he's open for amendments to this bill. The debate today, did not shy away from the fact that this is much needed changes that we require. So again, I'm just going to ask the parliamentary secretary, is the government open to enacting the key things around the principle of restraint that comes in Bill C-242, the member of Lethbridge's C-246 around consecutive sentencing, and around 225 with the intimate partner violence? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, it seems that the member opposite missed the news over the weekend and missed the front law enforcement, what they had to say about our Bail and Sentencing Reform Act. So let me bring them up to speed. The Toronto Police Association called our plan a step in the right direction. The Canadian Association, the Association for Police across the country, said that this should be the moment of collaboration, not division, urging all parties to pass legislation quickly to strengthen public safety and rebuild confidence in our justice system. The London Police Association said this legislation represents a vital advancement and an essential step in creating a safer Canada. So, Mr. Speaker, I asked the member opposite, what insight does he have that the frontline officers seem to be missing? And with regards to the timeline, as mentioned earlier, right now the reforms are large, and there are over 80 amendments to the criminal code, Mr. Speaker, and it requires all the necessary time and thorough consultation to get it through. Thank you.